viewers, my name is Adam.
I'm Aaron.
This is Seeking Me Productions. Bring you another movie review.
So we actually got to see it. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish.
Puss in Boots and the Last Wish is the latest installment in Dreamworks Animation's Shrek franchise.
This franchise is probably one of the most well-known out there as far as trying to put fairy tales on the big end list.
Or at least one of the leading fairy tale movie series that's able to compete well with Disney.
Exactly. The satire in this series alone is worth the price of admission, and it doesn't help. It actually helps even more so when you have outstanding animation that goes into this. And I'm really waiting for this one is in particular.
More on that in production. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish is the sequel to the Puss in Boots spin-off film, and also starring Antonio Banderas in the leading role.
And of course, you got the side leads of Salma Hayek's
Kitty Softpaws.
Exactly.
And for what it's worth, from progression from the first Puss in Boots spinoff into this one, this film overall is a huge leap forward.
Yep.
In quality.
Quality as far as story structure and specifically, yet again, animation. But I really sunk my teeth into this in this particular journey, especially where it forgoes the grandeur of a large epic tale to focus specifically as a case study for its characters, specifically for Puss.
So the story this time around, they are driving home the mythological legend aspect of Puss in Boots in this iteration with the 9 lives for a cat. This one is like in fairy tales that in this particular case it is the fact for Puss in Boots in any way to feel like he's running out of lives.
Yeah, I mean when you live large, and Puss definitely lives large, you tend to be a little bit more frivolous with the concept of what a life really truly means until you're running low and you only have that one life to live. So in an attempt to try and remedy that situation and claim back his lost heroism, puts us out on this journey to try and find this falling shooting star that within it houses a particular one wish to grant to whomever comes to it first.
The film is like a MacGuffin adventure's tale.
Exactly.
And it like the Shrek franchise as well. Staple Mark is satirical when it comes to turning the certain known fairy tale characters and tropes on its head. No different here. This one time around, it does take it a lot more seriously with the central character, as it's focusing on the major theme of valuing one's life.
And it comes even harder when you look at another character in this film, the sidekick of the series, of this particular story, Apito, I believe.
He's a dog, like a little small dog, posing as a cat.
Pretty much. Very energetic and hilarious role that underlies a truly tragic and very wholesome upbringing. A character who, for the most part, has been thrown away by society and even his own kind, and yet can still look at the brighter side of life. And this very hits home for Puss, who almost always felt as though he was the center story. He was the man on the stage, the living legend, and didn't need anyone. When you really pull back the layers, you actually realize that it's lonely at the top, especially when you have nobody else to really have your back.
So the film story and plot script has a lot going on. And it has to cover a lot of ground to get to point A to point B, and in doing so, it's very solidly done, written script movie, especially for most Hollywood animated films are concerned. It's just unfortunate the fact that one of the only real criticisms that I have with the story is how it's too fastly paced.
Yeah, this movie is very energetic, incredibly fast paced. From start to finish, it's almost kind of in a lot of ways a little bit of a whiplash, between what you're seeing right now in the moment, and then cuts completely forward to a new aspect of what's being told in the story. And it's like some parts it definitely works for it, but for the mass majority, it's like, this is a time where you can actually just slow down and let us enjoy the ride with you. But it is a little quicker than it necessarily should be
at certain points.
Exactly.
But the emotional beats do hit really strong when they do happen.
Exactly.
Focus on more on characters. Antonio Banderas reprising his role as Puss in Boots.
Outstanding. Talk about an individual that has taken his time to really sink his teeth into a role. I think he truly embodies the character of Puss.
Well, this iteration of the fairy tale character of Puss in Boots is very much modeled after Antonio Banderas' other more famous roles, Zorro, which is a weird when you actually look at the history of the Puss in Boots character. It's actually an Italian fairy tale.
Yeah.
They decided to remix it as more of a Latin American, South American, Mexican folklore.
Hey, it's wherever it comes to the screen first, and at the same time, this is a lot of people's first introduction to this character. So if anybody wants to come in after the role, and God help them, they do. You got some really big
strong
shoes.
Competition.
Some shoes to fill.
But he does not phone it in at all. Even though it's not patient, you can really feel the dedication in his delivery of what he's presenting here.
And that can be said of almost everybody who's cast in this film. Again, Salma Hayek's Kitty Softpaws. I loved her when she was first introduced in the first film, and she's just as outstanding in this rendition. She's carrying on from the first when we introduced her. She herself is like a femme fatale,
a loner, a thief in a lot of regards.
But then when you get to the heart of the story in this particular journey, you do get another. I mean, from the first time we was introduced, you actually get to understand her backstory of being betrayed by so many others before her, and then finally finding an individual whom she felt is a individual she could rely on, and if not build something even new with, only to yet again be betrayed in another sense. It's pretty deep.
Very thematic in his writing, and the sequel that, for all intents and purposes, nobody expected to be this well done.
Exactly.
I feel like when we say like a lot of things are done in the story, it's juggling a lot of characters as well.
Yep.
Other fairy tale characters that populate this film are Goldilocks from Goldilocks and the Three Bears,
played by
Florence Pugh, rising star.
Yeah.
The actress. The way they interpret this version, the lore of fairy tale, is like as if a Guy Ritchie were to cross over and direct the movie himself, which is a very fun mix of tones here.
Actually, that's something we could point on right now. I found myself quite often while this story was being played, questioning whether or not who was this film truly, who was the main audience that they were trying to, focus and shoot this movie for. And one part, you understand that it's an animated feature, and even more so, it's an animated feature that's that's a sequel in the series of quite a few stories in the long-running series that are focused towards the family aspect. But the jokes and a lot of the concepts that are floating around in the story, they do tend to go a little bit out there at some points, even more so than I thought that it's almost like kind of pushing the boundaries a bit.
Especially with the one of the antagonistic figures, Jack Horner, voiced by John Mulaney.
Oh, wow.
Very despicable. The Shrek franchise have done some
really despicable people, but this guy was like, there was absolutely no redeeming this individual. He was just a sick individual through and through. And then you have the other antagonistic figure in this role, a bounty hunter played by Wagner Moura, menacing.
Basically the key figure in this film, as far as how he ties into the thematic nature of what the story is going for.
Exactly. And
Um, let's just say 2022 introduced another wolf-like character, and the bad guys are also a really good film. You should go check that out. It's 2 for 2 for really well-written and animated wolf characters in DreamWorks.
let's keep this gravy train going. I am a huge fan of the wolf archetype. I love wolves. They're one of my favorite animals. So getting to see all these really cool characters embody those those cool characteristics that come from the actual creature itself is incredible to see, and I am here for it.
And here talk about like when we start about how basically well done this film is on not only on the script wise, the animation is also is basically is a very turning point for this field in general.
Yep. And it absolutely works. I mean, we talked about how fast paced the series is, but the way that the fast paced nature of the animation style itself is carried into this particular film completely works for the action-packed sequences that you get going on. They did stuff in this film that I absolutely feel as though should have been the focus of quite a few other action series, even live action series going forward. The camera workings, the way that certain scenes are set up, the dynamic fight scenes, and
they didn't have to go as hard.
They didn't. But they absolutely, truly did, and that's spectacular.
And that's mainly done with the art direction that was changed for the sequel.
Yep.
The first Puss in Boots, it was like very standardized CG animate, like CG models.
It's reminiscent to what came before it, the other Shrek films.
But there was a shift in animation when the film Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse happened, where it basically it developed it pushes CG animation so it could be a little bit more traditional. It had that more traditional hand-drawn aesthetic applied to it that really helps with emoting and also with dynamic movement. That really where this film really shines with basically how well. But one of the highlight aspects that I'm pretty sure why this film is getting so much praise. So, yeah.
But we also have to understand and probably put it out there too. Just because certain films like, of course, Puss in Boots and Into the Spider-Verse are utilizing this particular format of animation, doesn't mean that everything that comes after it has to follow in suit. If anything, this should start. I hope this will be the beginnings to quite a few different art styles being played with and utilized throughout other animated projects, and showcasing just what great animation is worth. Why is this particular medium so important to continue to innovate and breathe new life into it? This is the type of stuff that I'm passionate about seeing. So going forward, I can't wait to see what the next dynamic variation of animation is going to prove, or what other forms of styles are going to help emphasize a story to its grand conclusion.
Yes, and it's also nicely helped when the music also is a well
yeah.
selected choice of song.
It was a bopsiness.
I almost felt that this film was almost going to open like a musical because there is a Puss in Boots theme that carries on throughout the film, but it's not. But there are some insert songs that are also that are really well done and placed in the music that are worth mentioning here. But overall, despite our thinking that the film goes by a little bit too fast on some regards, the script is still really surprisingly very strong, and the animation upgrade does help a lot, and to the point that I'm glad to say that Puss in Boots: The Last Wish is a great film.
Absolutely. As always, we want to hear from you. Did you go watch Puss in Boots: Last Wish yet? If so, how did you feel about it? Are you game to watch more? And are we coming back for the next Shrek film? I don't know. I hope that it's going to be outstanding just like this one was. Please hit that bell down there at the bottom for notifications. We want to hear from you.
My name is Adam, and please sure to look at our social media outlets of Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram for content that we don't post on this channel.
I'm Aaron, and that's absolutely true, because sometimes, there's only so much hours in a day, and we can't post everything. So please, give it a look.